Jai Hind, this is Brigadier Hemant Mahajan. In the last part, we talked about as to how the Indian Armed Forces prepared itself for a campaign against Pakistan and did successful planning, logistics as well as operational to ensure a victory for India and in liberating Bangladesh. In this part, we will specifically talk about as to how the war was fought in East Pakistan or present Bangladesh. We will talk about the military operations, especially which started off somewhere on 3rd of December and the war got over on 16th of December when the Pakistani army in Bangladesh or East Pakistan surrendered to the Indian army. And this was one of the biggest ever victories which was achieved by India over Pakistan. This is what we are going to discuss today. And of course, I will try and tell you about it with the help of a PowerPoint presentation also. We had very briefly covered as to what all activities which India had done before the war started. Okay, I'll just share a PowerPoint presentation with you so that with the help of a PowerPoint presentation, we'll be able to show you a map of Bangladesh, a map of East Pakistan and other areas. Okay, so this basically will show you the complete Indian map. Yeah, okay. Now, we are going to talk about this war in a very brief manner in next 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, yeah. Okay. Now, world situation has been told to you to counter USA. We did a treaty with Soviet Union so that the USA was neutralized. We also waited till the month of November so that China could not help Pakistan because the passes closed because of winter and heavy snowfall. Now, as far as Indian military strategy was concerned, the military strategy is shown to you here. What I will briefly tell you is that it was a joint operation with the help of Army, Navy and Air Force, and in which we had decided that on the Western front, we will remain defensive. And this is the Western front, basically right from Jammu, Kashmir, up to state of Gujarat, etc. In Rajasthan, in Punjab, and in Kashmir, we were to be on defensive only to ensure that if Pakistan launched an offensive against us, all that we will do is capture equivalent area of Pakistan so that on the negotiations table, we will be able to neutralize their gains. However, our focus was on East Pakistan, where we wanted to attack the Pakistanis from all the sides. Here, with the help of map, you can very easily see as to how from where all we attack. This is the Eastern Theater from where we attack East Pakistan from all sides. Now, this was the West Pakistan where we did a holding action, and the main things were limited to East Pakistan. Before the war, I had already told you 1 crore refugees came inside India, 40 lakh East Pakistanis murdered, and out of that, nearly 30 lakh were Hindus, etc. So this is now East Pakistan, the sector on which we are going to talk. Here you can see the rivers which come inside that. First is the Brahmaputra river, which flows down here. Then is the Ganges river. And all this area is full of marshy areas, rivers, etc. This is the coastal area called as the Sundarbans. So the area is very difficult from the point of view of military operations. As far as Pakistan was concerned, its aim in East Pakistan was very clear that they wanted to crush Bengali nationalism once and for all. So therefore, they went in for very tough measures, including killing people by a large number. And their strategy in East Pakistan was very clear that East Pakistan, you hold the Indian forces and carry out a Pakistani offensive in the Western front, that is against Kashmir, Punjab, and in the area of Rajasthan. And also take help from China and USA to ensure that India is not able to carry out war in East Pakistan. They wanted to have a stalemate. Something like that was done in 1965 when the international pressure was put to stop our winning forces. Okay, and Pakistan thought that with minimum forces they will use to guard East Pakistan, and use whatever losses they incur in East will be compensated by making huge gains in the area of West. That's how they studied. They thought with their tanks, with their air force, with everything, they could make a lot of gains there. But we did not let that happen. As far as General Niazi, the commander there, was concerned, he had made it very clear that he had got 4 divisions. With that help, they neutralized the East Bengal regiments, cleared all the major towns, sealed all the routes of infiltration, and built up its defenses based on major towns, major road axes. This is what they did. So their defenses were based on strong points, which were basically based on the cities, and they massacred East Pakistan Regiment, East Bengal Regiment, etc. They used other forces also. As far as the Army and Navy was concerned, the plan was very straight and simple. Air Force gave a ground support to the Army, especially it was very crucial in Western theater. It wiped out the Pakistani Air Force from East Pakistan in first 4 days itself. As far as the Navy was concerned, it blockaded the East Pakistan coast so that the Pakistani army could not run away from there. And it, of course, carried out a strike on the important targets on the West Pakistan front. General Manik Shah was the chief of army staff, a very able military leader, very ably prepared the army and the armed forces for the war, stocking of ammunition, building infrastructure, building bridging equipment, getting reinforcements, training officers, carrying out war games, carrying out all the preparations that you require to carry out a war. And he was ably supported there by Air Marshal Lal, the air chief, and Admiral Nanda. And of course, the political leadership was also very responsive at that point of time, especially Srimati Indira Gandhi. Chief of Army Staff met all the troops on the forward areas, motivated them to ensure that the campaign was done fast with innovative ideas. We had to take a lot of risk because when the war was about to begin, Pakistan already had 4 divisions inside Pakistan, supported by their own paramilitary forces, especially the Razakars, etc. And what Indian Army could muster for offensive operations against Bangladesh was about 7 to 8 divisions, meaning we barely had 2:1 superiority. And anybody who understands military aspects will know that you require a much higher force level to carry out offensive operations, 3:1 or maybe 6:1, because this area was very tough in terms of carrying out operations. We also created Mukti Bahini with the help of their soldiers who had come from East Bengal Regiment, and various Indian Army commanders, General Brigadier Joshi, Brigadier Prem Singh, Brigadier Salik, Veer Chakra, Brigadier Shubhek Singh, Brigadier Wadke. They trained and created various Bangladesh subsectors which helped the Indian Army hell of a lot. They carried out raids and ambushes on the Pakistani Army. Pakistani Army always wanted to protect its rear, protect its flanks, protect its communications. They disrupted their infrastructure. A lot of troops were tied up to clear them, to conduct counter-insurgency operations, etc. So they definitely helped in helping the Indian Army to go for a war. As far as the trigger was concerned, very briefly, I mentioned to you earlier that we utilized the month of November up to 3rd December to capture certain border outposts of Pakistan, thereby improving our defensive posture, also giving us launch pads to launch operations inside East Pakistan. And we also ensured by carrying out these operations, while our casualties were on the higher side, but it was ensured that Pakistani army was imbalanced Pakistani army, which was initially focusing on various towns like Dhaka, Jessore, Khulna, etc., now reduced troop level from there and got them on the borders. When Indian army decided not to launch its offensive further, so Pakistani army in East Pakistan thought that India was interested only in liberating the border areas. So they focused a lot on the border areas. But what happened was that anywhere where they focused, when the actual war started, we went ahead of that. We bypassed all those strong points which were located on the borders. These strong points are all shown to you here. These are all the strong points which was there where attacks were carried out. These were all strengthened. Look at all this area on the border, etc. This is where the deployment of Pakistan army took place, and the area in the rear, that this complete area around the towns became thinly held. So therefore, the Pakistani army was imbalanced. Okay. Now, very briefly, I will tell you as to how the war started. On 3rd of December, when General Manekshaw was sitting in the operation room along with his DGMO, Major General Inder Gill, information came that Pakistani Air Force had attacked us on the Western Front. So obviously, the war had to be started. But at that point of time, Srimati Indira Gandhi was not in Delhi, and even Babu Jagjeevan Ram, the defense minister, was not present. Sam Manekshaw passed the orders for starting the war. Troops were moved into their concentration area. Preparatory actions was made, and Mrs. Indira Gandhi returned, and war started in the early mornings of 4th of December. Now, how exactly what this was fought? You can see it here. What is shown to you are various important points like Saidpur, Bogra, Tangel, Silhat. These were all important towns inside Bangladesh where initially they had planned to put strong points. Strong point means defenses around the city so that the Indian army will have to clear them. Look at the number of rivers that are there. Look at Brahmaputra coming inside. Look at Ganges coming inside. Look at their various tributaries. See the marshy areas. So therefore, one can very easily understand as to how important it was to start the Bangladesh operations only after monsoons had stopped in Bangladesh. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been possible at all. And if you see the area, they all are very soft areas. They all are very fertile areas. There are river plains, there are alluvial plains, there are North Bengal plains, there are hill tracts which are on the hillside. And here I must mention that hill tracts are basically near the Myanmar border. So it was also ensured that we have a commando force called the SFF, that is the Special Frontier Force. They were taken from Mizoram and put on the hill tracts so that the Pakistani army was not able to escape from there. So look at this area, and these were 4 different sectors as far as the Indian army was concerned. Indian army attacked East Pakistan from 4 directions: the eastern sector, the northern sector, the northwestern sector, and the southwestern sector. That means you carried out attacks from all these areas. The northern sector comes from here. This southwestern sector comes from there. Because what we must understand is India surrounds Bangladesh from 3 sides. And of course, the 4th side, which is next to the sea, there a blockade was done by the Indian Navy. So they could not get any reinforcements from there. Purely because of lack of time, I will not get into the detail. But what we must understand is that the terrain of the area there was completely underdeveloped. There were very little roads. We required a lot of bridges to cross rivers, especially the bigger rivers like Ganges, etc. There were only 4 or 5 important roads which have been shown to you by red. Just look at it. These are the important roads which are there shown in the red. So you could only go along the roads simply because other areas were difficult. And it had only 2 ports, basically Chitgaon and Jalna, which was blockaded by the Navy. It had only 7 airports, which was neutralized by the Indian Air Force. So very good study, and we ensured that this was used well. And when we carried out our offensive, we carried out an offensive from all different areas. Aim was to attack East Pakistan from different direction. And this is what exactly happened. And here you can see the Dhaka Bowl, which actually was where the main defenses of Pakistan should have been there. But we ensured that we imbalanced the Pakistani army by making them carry out a forward deployment to stop the Indian army, while the forward deployment was bypassed by the Indian army by carrying out innovative tactics. So this was the fortress concept which General Niazi followed. What is shown to you on the black were the various forts which were ahead of the main fort. Dhaka was the main fort, but ahead of that was Jessore, ahead of that was Melinda, ahead of that was Bogra, Rangpur, then Myanmar Singh, etc. Sylhet was there. So all these, what is the black dots that you see here, were the various forts which were guarding the main road axis, which was coming from there towards Dhaka. And Dhaka was the place where the main fight was to be given. And all these forts were stopped for 15 to 30 days to stop the Indian offensive. But this was what Pakistani army wanted to do. And he had approximately 4 divisions and a lot of other elements like the paramilitary forces, the Pakistani civilian forces, Razakars, Mujahids, scout battalions, some armor, artillery, AD, etc. And as far as this is how the Pakistani army was deployed. And what Indian army did was all those fortresses which were nearer the borders, by and large, they were bypassed, and we cut off their lines of communication, ensured that the fortresses troops got scared and they wanted to withdraw back, and they did not want to fight here. So Indian military strategy, General Jamshid Singh Arora was the Eastern Army commander, and he gave his battle there that bypass the enemy strongholds and go for Dhaka, capture areas up to riverfront, etc. And then there are 4 corps which fought the war. 2 corps which was commanded by Lieutenant General Raina Mahavir Chakra. Later he was the Chief of Army Staff. His attack is shown to you from here. They did a good job and they completed their task in a very fast manner. Marshy areas created a problem, but the operations progressed faster than what they had planned, and they did more than what was required to be done. Then there was a 33 Corps which attacked from the Danapur side. General Thapar was the corps commander there. They had 1 division and 1 brigade. Now they also were carried out operations. They were also by and large able to carry out all the tasks that were there. I don't want to get into the details of battle because that will mean a lot of time will be required to explain these battles. But by and large, they also did a good job. But the hero of this war, or the troops which did maximum damage to Pakistan, was 4 Corps. That was Lieutenant General Sagat Singh, a very outstanding soldier and an outstanding field commander who led the 4 Corps. And he was the one, he had 3 divisions with him, 8 Mountain Div, 57 Div, 23 Div. He bypassed the fortresses. He crossed the rivers. He carried out paradrops, etc. He did very innovative tactics, etc. He led from the front, and he was the one who led the race to Dhaka. And very rightly, you also see him in that famous photograph. General Sagat Singh was the outstanding soldier, and we will talk more about him when we discuss personalities in the later part of the presentation. But his was an outstanding success, and he deserves to be complimented. Here you can see him in the inset. That is General Sagat Singh for you, a very offensive and an innovative commander who ensured that Pakistanis were completely outmaneuvered. He was always on the forward line, trying to exploit the windows of opportunities which came, and he did a wonderful job. And here is another force, 101 Communication Area, which is based in Shillong, consisting of just about 2 brigades, later 3 brigades, which also came from the area of Shillong, etc. And they also did a good job, and they were one of the first ones to, let's say, come inside Dhaka. And they were well coordinated. They used the Mukti Bahini, and they deserve all the compliments. And as far as the air war was concerned, within 4 days, the Pakistani Air Force was destroyed in East Pakistan. Thereafter, we had a complete air superiority. As far as naval operations was concerned, it was very, very clear that we blocked the eastern coastline. We utilized our gunboats to attack Pakistan and its merchant shipping, etc. So they could not carry out any movement from west to east, etc. So this was a very good strategy, and this was achieved very, very well. So therefore, in the final analysis, the Bangladesh was liberated. A war which started off on 4th of December, ended on 16th of December. A lot of psychological operations were done. When Pakistani troops started withdrawing from 10th onwards, General Manik Shah started telling the Pakistani army that you are surrounded now, please surrender. If you surrender, we will save you, we will not kill you. But if you don't, then we will attack you. So a lot of psychological pressure was put. In fact, even before the war stopped, General Manik Shah sent the Chief of Staff of Eastern Command, General Jacob, to Dhaka to speak to Niazi. Imagine, the war is not yet over, but our Chief of Staff lands up there. Here is General Jacob, the Chief of Staff, another outstanding soldier who put a fair amount of pressure on General Niazi, whom you can see. And the most important hero of this war, field commander, was, of course, General Sagar Singh. You can see him here, and you can, of course, see the Air Force and the Naval Chief. And, of course, who's sitting here is General Jagjit Singh Arora, and General Niazi is signing the instrument of surrender here. And what was the result achieved? That army surrendered with about 55,000, nearly 56,000 of troops, paramilitary forces, 16,000 plus civilian police, Pakistani Air Force, Pakistani Navy. So this was one of the biggest surrender which ever took place. So basically, what I want to tell you here is that this was an outstanding campaign. We barely had 2:1 attacking ratio here. The area was very tough. It was in this war that our generals outmaneuvered the Pakistani army. We used innovative ways. We used the Mukti Bahini. We used the special forces. We landed heliborne troops. We crossed rivers with a fast speed. We used boats, etc., which was locally available to cross. In fact, there are a lot of Maratha battalions which fought there. They used the local boats, etc., to cross river, etc. So very innovative tactics. A lot of non-military means were used to quickly capture. We did a lot of psychological warfare, drops, leaflets after 10th, when Pakistani army started crumbling. Frankly speaking, Pakistani army had sufficient strength to deploy itself. If it had not withdrawn from the strong points, it would have still fought there for a very long time, because they were all stopped for nearly 30 days. But since their lines of communications were cut, they were scared. But as a counter, they could have cut the Indian Army's lines of communication. So it was superior leadership, superior logistics, superior tactics, very brave actions done on ground by troops, especially the heliborne operations, especially crossing of rivers, especially using modified means to win various battles, etc. That is what really helped you in this war. Otherwise, purely in terms of strength, it was not adequate. And just 7 divisions liberating Bangladesh is an outstanding job done by the Indian Army in this area. That is what we need to understand. And we need to pay homage to all those heroes. We lost nearly 3,500 soldiers here. Nearly 1,000 soldiers were lost in the preliminary operations. In this war, I mentioned to you very briefly about some generals. They were heroes who won the Paramveer Chakra, the Mahavir Chakra, the Veer Chakras. One of the heroes, I must mention to you, Paramveer Chakra Major Hoshiar Singh in the Battle of Basantar, Paramveer Chakra by Lieutenant Arun Khetrapal, again in the Battle of Basantar, then in the area of Longewala, where Major Shikarpuri, he won the Mahavir Chakra. There were a lot of outstanding actions. So more of it later. I'll end this presentation by complimenting our leadership, to which ensured that this campaign of Bangladesh war was finished much faster than what could be expected. you must remember that America's 7th Fleet had already started entering the Indian Ocean. I repeat, America's 7th Fleet had already come in the Indian Ocean to stop the war. But even before they could reach the Arabian Sea or the East Bengal, the war was over. The most powerful nation of the world at that point of time, America, wanted to help Pakistan. China wanted to help Pakistan. Europe was by and large against us. But despite such a powerful alliance against us, we ensured that the campaign was uh, uh, finished so fast that this campaign is called as the lightning campaign. So therefore, we need to complement our political leadership. We need to complement our military leadership, Sir Manik Shah and his generals, and ably supported by many others who fought the war and many others who laid down their lives in this war. I'll stop here. In the next part of the presentation, we will talk very briefly about the war on the Western Front. And in the last part of the presentation, we'll talk about certain important personalities at the general's level, as well as the field commander's level, and also at the level of troops who actually fought the war. And we'll bring out their bravery in front of you. I'll stop here. Thanks a lot and see you again. Jai Hind.